Hey, hello, my name is Jojo and welcome back to my channel. Or if you're new here, welcome. Alright, so getting and staying organized is probably one of the best things you can do for yourself right now if you plan on going to grad school. If you're already in grad school, not a problem. Getting and staying organized is one of the things that can make your life much easier if it's not already. 10 out of 10, definitely recommend. It took me, when I say years, I mean literally years to get to a place where I could tell people that I'm kind of an organized person and like actually like mean it. High school and undergrad were just a mess. An absolute mess. I mean, like, I was double scheduling myself. I was like forgetting that I had agreed to go to certain events and then like either completely not showing up or being extremely late. I was forgetting deadlines and due dates until like the day before I had to turn something in. I honestly don't know how I made it through. I really don't. But I was getting ready to start grad school and was like, this is unacceptable. I need to get my life together. And so I did. It took a lot of work, but I did. And so all of that aside, today we're gonna talk about how I did it. And hopefully this video will be able to help someone somewhere who, like me, tried many different things that failed miserably. This may not be the organizational plan for you, but it could be. So yeah, let's get started. All right, the first thing I want to talk about is the way in which you are trying to keep your plans organized, or the thing you are using to hold all of your plans. Let's start with planners. Planners never worked for me. Never have, never will. I'm talking like all the way back to elementary school. I don't know if every school did this, but my elementary school would give us like agendas, which are basically like planners for kids. And it was supposed to help the children like keep track of like their daily assignments and their homework each day, and when they had a homework due, and like the teachers would check it every day or every so often to make sure that we were writing in them. When teachers would check my agenda was the only time I looked at my agenda. Like, I would be really consistent with it for maybe like the first 2 months of school, and then the minute the teacher stopped checking, I stopped using it. Like, wouldn't use it to keep track of homework, didn't write anything down, didn't check it for due dates. I didn't even open it to check when we had holidays. Like, literally, the only time I would use my agenda is when sometimes our agendas would come with like rulers on the front, like plastic rulers on the front. I would use that. I would whip out my agenda for the ruler. That was it. Never used it for anything that it was intended to be used for. And that pattern carried on throughout my entire life. Even though I tried I tried so hard to use planners and like them and be consistent with them. But if I had $1 for every planner that I bought and ended up not using, I would probably be able to buy a new laptop. And I mean, like, I would spend money. Like, I would spend some coin, some serious coin on a nice, crisp new planner every year. And I just knew that that planner would fix my life. Never did. Because here's the issue with planners. And I'm gonna be really real. They take too much time. Like, you have to plan to write in your planner and like update it. And that's just too much for me. Especially if you have like one of those fancy planners that has like stickers and stuff in it, or like they come with really cute pens or markers, or like, what do they call them? Like the bullet journal? No, bullet journals are what you make yourself. So not bullet journals, but the planners that come with like a bunch of arts and crafts stuff that are supposed to keep you interested in it, but ultimately just make you dread using it because you feel like if you don't use those things and you're not using it to its full capacity, and then it's just a waste of money and then it becomes a stress. And that is what I have experienced with every single planner I have ever tried to use. So if that happened to you, you are not alone. You are not a failure. Planners just aren't for you, and that's okay. The next thing I tried were just monthly calendars. Either like the paper calendars that you can like rip off each month, or the whiteboard calendars where you could just like erase and then rewrite whatever the month is and the days. As you can see, if you look behind me, right there, I have a calendar, a whiteboard calendar that I bought when I started grad school. It is now decoration. Not decoration. I use it for something else now that's not necessarily like planning related. It's more self-care related, but I don't use it for its intended purpose. There are no dates on there. The month is not written on there. I don't have any like plans written on there. It's just words. So yeah, me and calendars, very, very similar relationship with planners. And I came to realize through trying to use calendars that anything that requires me to take time to sit down and write it on something is annoying to me. Like when I'm trying to get organized, I don't want to have to plan time to get organized. Like it just feels counterproductive to me. Like I don't want, there we go. It's not a problem with calendars or planners. It's more of a me thing. I don't want to have to plan time around getting organized, and that is what planners and calendars were forcing me to do. Like I would have to dedicate time out of my day to sit down and write things in planners or write things on my calendar. Like it's too much. It's too much for me. So yeah, planners, calendars, not my thing. What is my thing is iCalendar. And I say iCalendar because I have Apple products and that's what's on Apple products. But if you have like an Android or a PC, like it's the equivalent of whatever calendar you have on your phone or your computer. But yeah, iCalendar is amazing for me because it's quick, it's simple, it's color coordinated in a way that doesn't force me to have to like be too like creative. That makes me sound like a dud. I don't want to be creative. No, it's not something that I have to put too much effort into. So if you're someone like me who doesn't like to have to take time out to get organized, then I definitely recommend using the calendar on your phone or on your computer. Google Calendar is also something that I've kind of been forced to use lately, but I'm not gonna lie, I don't like it as much. I think it's a little bit too, it feels more unnecessarily complicated to me than it probably should. I don't really know why that is. It might be because I've been using iCalendar for so long. But Google Calendar just feels unnecessarily clunky to me in a way. And so I've been forced to use it for school, but that's literally all I use it for. Like if I don't have to look at it, I refuse to look at it because it's very annoying to me. So yeah. So now that we know what I use to stay organized, let's talk about what I put on there. The answer is everything. I put literally everything on my calendar. It's just a way for me to keep everything in one place visually that's very easy for me to digest. All of the different things on my calendar are color coded, so it's very easy for me to look at my calendar and know what I have to do when and for what things. In addition to putting everything on my calendar, I also, and this is more of a recent thing than in the past, but I have gotten into calendar blocking. Calendar blocking essentially allows you to plan out almost every single minute of your day, even if you're not doing something every single minute of the day. And I hope that makes sense. All right, so I thought it would be helpful to see a visual of what I'm talking about because I tried to explain it and I think I explained it very badly. So I just edited a week of my calendar and got rid of all of the super specific information, so there wasn't anything on there that might get me in trouble. But as you can see, essentially almost every single minute of my days, Monday through Fridays, are planned out. Saturdays and Sundays I usually leave blank because I don't like to plan my weekends. But yeah, so any gaps that you see on here are probably meetings that were moved or rescheduled or canceled. Fridays, I usually end my days at 5, so I don't usually plan anything for after 5 p.m. on Fridays. But yeah, basically every single minute of my days are filled with something, either that I want to be doing or that I should be doing. Yeah, so I put everything on my calendar and I calendar block, I time block. I actually think the right term is time blocking. I time block. Like that alone has taken my productivity from like here to here. Like if this was where I was before and this is where I was when I started using my calendar on my phone, and then this is where I am now that I time block. Like it's actually like been so helpful. Something that's been really important for me specifically in staying organized is integrating downtime into my calendar blocking. So I don't just put school or work related things on my calendar and time block them. I also incorporate like my self-care time and any downtime that I might have throughout the day that I want to use specifically just for like downtime. Because that's really important for me personally to keep my sanity. So for example, literally on my calendar, some people might think I'm weird for this, but on my calendar, I have two-hour blocks of time, one in the morning and one in the night, that designate my morning routine and my nighttime routine. That's all that it says. And that is because even though what I do during those time blocks might vary from day to day, I know that for those 2 hours, those first 2 hours after I wake up and those last 2 hours before I go to sleep at night, I am doing nothing school or work related. Absolutely nothing. I am just existing and doing whatever it is I need to do to prepare for my day and unwind from my day, because that is so important for me. Part of staying organized is making sure that you are also giving yourself time like to just exist and not be working on something, because when you do that, then you have burnout and then your whole plan just goes to shit. And so the point I'm trying to get at is that it's vital that you create a routine, and that is what was most beneficial to me in all of this, was creating and sticking to a routine that was manageable for me. And it took some time to get there, but I did. And so you'll get there. And this goes without saying, but obviously like there are still going to be times where you feel overwhelmed. There's still going to be times where you fall behind, or like your schedule just gets a little bit more hectic than other times and it kind of crumbles. But it's important to remember that when that happens, like it doesn't mean that like now everything's just a mess and unfixable. Like when you fall out of that routine and it becomes overwhelming, it's really important to come back to it and ground yourself in it, and then just pick up from where you left off, and everything else will figure itself out. I promise it will. I tend to fall out of my routine more often than I would like to. And that is because I'm still dealing with the fact that I'm a huge people pleaser and I have a really hard time saying no to certain projects. And I tend to sometimes take on way too much. But when that happens, it's really helpful to know that I have a starting point already in place where I can just kind of pick up from. And then everything else kind of falls in line. So yeah, I hope that helps. I hope that made sense. I feel now, thinking back on everything I said, I feel like that might have been a little bit scattered, but I'm hoping it makes sense. So yeah, thank you for watching, especially if you made it all the way to the end. I truly appreciate it. Leave me a comment down below if you have any questions or suggestions for future videos. As always, like, comment, subscribe, and click that little notification button so you don't miss my next upload, and I will see you in my next one.